Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi. Shouldn't it be All Things Kenobi?
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm your host, Leanne.
And this week we are finally getting into Tales of the Underworld. We have not watched it. It came out on May the 4th, which was a long time ago. And it was during Andor, so we definitely just didn't have the bandwidth to address it at the time. So we're going to do that now.
Yes. Yeah. And guess who decided to show up? Obi-Wan!
For like
no voice.
30
no
seconds.
Voice.
Yeah, no voice. Of course not.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Very sad. But it was good to see him again.
God forbid
good to see him.
We pay James Arnold Taylor any more money.
Seriously. It's like, come on, guys. He'll do one or two sentences for you. Look at what he did for us.
Yeah, he's really nice. Just let him.
Who the fuck are we? Like, seriously. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we haven't talked about this, and I'm so excited to talk about this. Probably not for the reasons you would think. But I'm ready to go. I'm in a fine mood for today's recording.
Okay, perfect. Well, go ahead. What have you got to say?
Well, I'm curious what you thought, because we did not let on at all, even any inkling of when we watch these. I just said, I'm ready to discuss whenever you are.
Yes.
And then here we are.
So you want my opinion first?
I kind of do. I'm curious. I'm curious because, I mean, I don't care who goes first, but I'm curious what you have to say about all this.
I was so bored.
Oh, were you bored? Were you bored? I was entertained.
Were you? I had no expectation. None at all.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. I knew who was in it, right? Because of the previews or whatever,
Yes.
the little trailers that they release. But
yeah.
I was so curious, like, why are we talking about these individuals? How are we talking about these individuals when one of them is allegedly dead? And I forgot. Star Wars just resurrects whoever the they want, whenever they want, for any loose reason that they want, and here the we are.
Yep. Yeah. No one is ever really dead. Not for real.
No. Not in this Star Wars era, and I hate it.
Well, why kill a character and bring them back for them to do nothing at all?
That's my question. I wanted to ask. My question is, okay, Ventress is an absolute goddess, whatever you want to say. Mm-hmm. She is a woman of her own. I respect the hell out of her. Grew to love her character. Mm-hmm. Total surprise loving her character. Yeah. This is not what I want from a character when they're resurrected. To come back and be a sidekick to some kid who sucks. And yet again, we have another Jedi that survived the Purge. So
yeah, no, there's a lot of them out there apparently.
At this point, they could all go to a spa together and hold a convention. That's how many there are. The fuck is Luke? Like Luke, yeah. You're one of two. Is he though? Is he though?
40 to 50, and the number keeps growing. I don't
give
know.
or take. Unbelievable. I'm so disappointed. And not only that, Mother Talzin just is like, do you want to live or die? Oh, I think I'll live. Okay.
Yes.
You live. What?
It came out of nowhere, first of all. And second of all, the proposition she presented to Ventress
makes no sense.
Oh, yeah, and like, why would Ventress choose what she chose? I don't understand. If the cost of her choice is her heart's desire, which they implied was Quinlan, why did she choose to come back?
I would have just stayed dead.
And, like, joined her sisters in the other world. Like, that seems more likely what Ventress would have chosen between...
She always wanted family.
Yeah,
she always wanted a
exactly.
sense of belonging.
So why would she come back to live a quiet life as, like, a ticket taker at a taxi service? I don't know. And then to get all the way up to potentially seeing Quinlan again, and then deciding that's not the path I'm on anymore. What was the point of sitting through this?
There was
I don't
no
understand.
Point. Literally no point.
Yeah.
No point. 0 points. I can't excuse a resurrection when there's no point.
Like nothing. Like friendship? Is that friendship with this kid? Is that what we're going with? Is that it, guys?
It's cringy. It's cringy.
It's real cringy. And I suppose it's supposed to tug at your heartstrings, but it just doesn't.
It didn't. Yeah. Okay, we sound negative. Wah, wah. But here, okay, I'll be positive. Because when this first came out, you sent me the trailer, and I was like, why should I care? Mm-hmm. And, like, you couldn't answer it, and nobody could answer it. I still can't answer it. But it was nice to see Quinlan Vos. There's been so much talk of Quinlan Vos since the Kenobi series.
I know.
So there was some, I don't know, fulfillment in the fact that he was brought back, in a sense, acknowledged he was with Obi-Wan. It's obviously from the story that so many people love, which is now just totally thrown out. What's the name of the book?
Dark Disciple.
Thank you. One of the better ones in the Star Wars universe. Of course, they had to just trash it. And I'm talking ill of Dave Filoni, my hero, which I'm allowed to do.
Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. Yeah.
I really do question, like, why he allowed this.
It was a waste of it was a waste of money, if nothing else.
It just totally undermines Dark Disciple, what took place in there, the Quinlan and the Ventress relationship, the kind of like unlikelihood of it all, and it somehow worked and it was wonderful and there were sacrifices made. I don't want to spoil. I'm trying to talk vaguely so I don't spoil it for anybody, but it was nice to see it acknowledged, but oh my God.
I know.
When are we going to leave things alone? I'm sorry.
Why do they keep with stuff? I don't know. And like Quinlan literally was taken by Dooku and tormented and tortured and like for Ventress, basically. And
yes.
I guess maybe that's a spoiler. Sorry. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I was the sacrifice I was speaking of, but
sorry.
Yeah, it was all for naught. No, it's okay.
The book came out a long time ago. I think we're safe for spoilers.
Yeah,
Read
we're safe. Also, if you're curious why he gets tortured and how, go ahead and pick up Dark Disciple and read it tomorrow.
Read the book.
There you go.
Yeah, I just
kind of ruins the book. Now
it does. It like undermines it a bit, like the depth of their connection, their relationship, the importance of somebody from the light side and the dark side finding common ground.
Crazy.
What the hell, guys? Of all the characters I'd be interested in, I would like to know more about Ventress and how she was brought back from the dead and her connection with Quinlan and how that ties into Obi-Wan and the path. And they just didn't touch any of it. They just, once again, use peripheral to tell a story that doesn't, like, I don't care about her trading services for information with some other bounty hunter. I want the part where they use it to find the path. That's the real story, and we're not telling it.
I thought that's where we were going. I thought we're going to get a glimpse of the path and how it's meant to work.
Yeah.
Because
as soon as she was like, what if we help you with this mission? I'm like, oh, so this episode is going to be about the mission. And then we
like
have
a Mandalorian.
Right. And then we have one episode left, and that's not enough to get to the path. And right there, I knew we're not going to have a really in-depth story. This is going to be another peripheral story without anything important happening, except that she makes a friend, which I guess is a big deal for her. But I don't know.
But like, strangely enough, she had the same kind of attitude with Obi-Wan in her interactions with Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars. She's like that with people. This kid just kind of, they didn't have a war separating them, right? I know that the Empire is like doing its thing or whatever, but you know, there were factions that separated Ventress and Obi-Wan. Strangely enough, kind of leads back to the Dark Disciple, that would prevent them from like working together, but then things happen. But this kid, there's nothing preventing him from like leaning on her, and she takes him under her wing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah. If we would have had some connection back to Quinlan in the end, could have maybe justified it, especially with the path, because in a way, she would have then been helping the Jedi, who she always hated, or at least tolerated at best.
Yeah. She's living on her terms, in a sense, then, because she made the choice.
I don't know. It's nice to see Ventress. It's nice. It was way nicer to see Quinlan. Because slightly different animation, slightly different look, kind of more mature.
Yeah,
you know,
not like a model, and I don't mean like a fashion model. I mean like a like 3D model of a person. He seemed more like a human being in this version of the animation.
Totally. And, you know, Obi-Wan's presence, and anyone who's read Dark Disciple gets it, and all of that. And it was touching. And it just, if we could have somehow tied it all together in the end, I might have a more positive commentary on it.
I agree. I feel the same.
It was enjoyable to watch in the fact that I'm like, okay, I'm slightly curious because of the path. And then, like you said, when I realized we're going to around and we're not going to get to the path, I was like, oh, Jesus. All right. All right.
Yeah. And I could get behind, you know, these quick little stories but like, oh, man, that was something I thought was one of Clone Wars' biggest strengths, right? Because Star Wars always, the movies are like 3 threads, and we switch every 15 minutes between the threads, and sometimes I care about the thread, and sometimes I can fast forward certain Ewoks, you know, things like that. Sorry, Derek.
He'll love that.
I love the Ewoks, just I don't always want to sit through their scenes, okay? But like...
Right. Totally.
Clone Wars stopped doing that. The episodes were 20 minutes. They picked one thread, and they really explored it in just a 20-minute period. It was amazing.
Totally.
And then if they got in depth, it would be like an arc. But something important and like meaningful happened in those 20 minutes every single time. And I feel like Tales of the Underworld, or these Tales movies, episodes in general, feel like rudderless. It's like,
that's a good way.
We get to return to the world and the animation and some of the characters, and that's really cool. But the stories are just kind of like empty, open-ended in a way that's not fun. I don't know. I don't want to just, because I feel like all I did was shit on Andor, and that pissed off some people. And now here I am just shitting on Tales of the Underworld, but it's not that good. I was bored. I kept checking the time, and that is not something I ever do. So,
yeah. Okay,
sorry.
Well, first of all, you're allowed an opinion. I'm allowed an opinion. Everyone's allowed an opinion here. We've always said that.
Yeah.
That includes yours and mine. So there we go. That being said, this also was not good. So I share your opinion. Okay, that sometimes happens, and sometimes it doesn't. But the crazy thing is let's remove Quinlan and Obi-Wan at the beginning. This could have still been a Tales of the Underworld when Ventress was technically really in the Underworld between Clone Wars and Dark Disciple.
Yeah, when she was still alive.
Yeah. And in fact, I would have preferred if they'd just done that. You have to, if you bring these people back, listen up. I'm going to make a statement. This is my platform as Miss America. If you bring people back in Star Wars, it had better be for a good reason. Yeah. No more of this flippant shit. Okay, I'm done. I'm getting frustrated.
Maul is a great example.
Maul might quite possibly be the only proper example.
Yes, so
far in Star Wars.
True.
Again, our opinion doesn't necessarily need to be yours. Everybody lives and everybody moves on. Let's also remember, I repeat this fact often on this show, this is all fake.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just TV.
It's just, we're here to, this is us watching our stories and having a chat afterwards.
Yes,
it goes on with all kinds, that's the beauty. You can talk about whatever you want, and that's why we have a show and you don't. So, because we decided to talk about it.
We just decided to record our usual conversations. Yeah.
Me, 100%. If nobody was listening, we'd still be talking about this, and we'd probably be swearing a lot more. But because we love James Arnold Taylor, and we mentioned him, I'm trying not to swear in this episode out of respect, because I know. Stay on the light side, Leanne. Come to the light side. Stay on the light side. Remember what he said?
Yeah, he wrote that on your autograph, I think.
I
didn't he?
know.
Yeah.
Yes, he did, and I love him. I stare at it every day, that photo. Anyway, I just didn't think it was good. It wasn't a good enough reason, in my opinion, to bring back somebody like Ventress from the dead.
Yeah, I agree. I loved seeing her, and Nika Futterman was so good. Oh, I loved her inflection, and you got the sense of like the pain that she just kind of lives with, and her performance was amazing, and I loved seeing it. But
there's nothing bad about the performances on anyone's part.
No.
Right down to those little creatures that I really appreciated that. Like
Mad Max, Star Wars style.
Yeah, like can we all respect each other's water? I love that. It's a good lesson.
Yeah. Yep. Again, not the lesson I was expecting, considering the foundation they laid at the beginning. But
true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. You know what I did like? Just one more thing before we move on, I guess, is that I did like that the old guy in the wheelchair, the old combat veteran, if you were, the separatist, recognized her and said Dooku's assassin or Dooku's. Is that how he phrased it? I can't remember the exact words, but that had to probably like shock her a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that he called her Lady Ventress. Which I found interesting because Maul refers to Ahsoka as Lady Ahsoka or something similar. Lady Tano, I think, is how he...
Lady Tano, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not Lady Ahsoka.
It's just... She'll probably cut your arms off if she heard you say that. She'll take Lady Tano, but Lady Ahsoka is not happening.
Yeah. I like that weird colloquialism from the separatists. It's elegant.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be recognized. Maybe not at that point. It's probably a little uncomfortable, but I'm sure she felt a little fluff of her feathers. You know what I mean? Like, a little straightening of the spine. Like, yeah, that's right. Even though she probably also felt bad because she didn't make it very far. And, drama.
She probably has so many layers of mixture of shame and anger and just, like, also needing to just let it all go.
And not just that, but it's a whole mood that she just wants to be left alone in peace. I felt that.
I know, I did too.
Felt that. I was like, I get it, Ventress. I love gold lightsabers, and seeing her in action, the lightsaber combat was quite good.
Yeah, it was great.
And just seeing a gold lightsaber, probably my favorite color, that and green. They're like, it's cool to see. There are fun things in it. It just, if you're going to bring somebody back from the dead, can we please have a good reason to it?
Yeah. And again, there's an Inquisitor, but they didn't say who it was. It was an unknown Inquisitor. And
yeah, I was curious. about all that, but it didn't, it lasted like 10 seconds and it was over. So
yeah. And the kid killed the Inquisitor, which was interesting. When Ventress gets the two lightsabers, and then I was like, oh, now it's going to get real, but then she still got beat. So.
She's rusty like Obi-Wan was for a while there in Tatooine.
Yeah. See, they need to find each other and hang out because they're
got a lot to
alive
go over.
in the same universe together.
They can talk about all the other people they thought were dead and aren't.
Can you imagine if we get a live action with Obi-Wan, Quinlan, and Ventress? That would be the best show ever made.
Okay, that would be gold. That would be chaos.
I would watch it. I would watch that. Yeah.
That would be called Dank Disciple. I'm sorry. I just thought that would be so dank. Dank Disciple.
That's really funny.
Quinlan came up with it.
Yep.
Okay, what do you make of the mess that were the next 3 episodes?
God.
Oh my god.
Okay, so the Ventress ones kept me engaged. I was interested mostly. The Cad Bane ones, I was bored from the moment it started. Even though that was Space Chicago.
Is that what it was?
Definitely seems like it was based on 1920s, 1930s Chicago. It even has the elevated train, the way the streets worked, the backroom gambling with mafia. Like, it all seemed like a reference to it.
It definitely had a vibe. And I picked up, well, you know Chicago. I don't. But I picked up the vibe of, like, all of that.
Yeah.
Kind of the seedy... underworld of like the 20s.
We have a very specific architectural like look to our elevated train because it was built in the Depression era and a little bit before that. So it has this cross-hatching on it that's pretty standard on Wells Street here in Chicago, and like that is exactly what that looked like. If it's not that,
Interesting.
I'd be really surprised, but it looks like at least it was a reference point for them. So even so, I didn't care.
What is his alien race? What are they called? Because they are the most alike to our, like, aliens that we...
Oh, yeah, like the grays and the greens
grays.
Or whatever they're called.
Yes,
Yeah.
the grays and the greens, yes. Where do you want to start?
His name is Colby? Colby Jack
Colby
Cheese?
Jack. Yes. Every gangster has a name, you know, like there's the mafia name and then there's the, you know, there's the old Western name and then you have like your street name.
This is, okay, and I understand where it's coming from, right? So this is High Noon, the Gary Cooper movie. It's about a marshal who puts someone in prison, and that guy gets out of prison and arrives on the noon transport, just like in this. And one of the characters in that movie is called Colby, but it is not a cool name.
It's not. No offense to the Colbys out there.
No. Like, I mean, as Cad Bane is an assassin, he's deadly.
Yes.
Colby is not the name I was expecting.
At first, I had no idea what I was watching because I wasn't sure if the guy with the hat and the toothpick was Cad Bane.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, the voice isn't right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of this is right.
It reminds me of the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where at the beginning you see young Indy see the treasure hunter, and you realize his image is based on this guy, not his father. You know, and it's like that. Maybe that's an on purpose reference because obviously, you know, there's close ties between Star Wars and Indiana Jones. But
well, I was just thinking the High Noon thing is totally a Filoni. I could see Filoni having this like story map that he drew out based on this. Yeah. And he's probably had this in his head about Cad Bane since day one. Yeah. And he was just dying to put it on paper, like put it on, not paper, but like on animation. Yeah. So all of this has a very familiar feel for where like Filoni grabs inspiration from. Just didn't stick a landing for me. Although he's way worse than I ever thought. He's a
Yeah, that was
horrible.
It was straight up depressing, which
It was the ending was so depressing. And I kept waiting for Cad to like make the right decision. Like he didn't care
that was his son.
He didn't give a fuck if that was his son. Did he not get it? Or did he get it and he just didn't care? Holy shit.
I think he
Crazy.
did get it, because there's 1 second where they show him like his eyes kind of open and he realizes after the fact that he's killed his ex-friend right in front of the child that he thought was this kid's father, then realizes, no, I'm the father. How that kid's never gonna recover from that. Like if the kid finds out that Cad Bane is really his father, like there's nothing good here. Just everyone go their separate ways, because
trauma.
Too much trauma. Yeah.
Here's a question. Again, this is all fake, but I'm just posing the question. Why did the good cop, the good-natured family man, well-respected in his community and in his workforce, why didn't he choose otherwise? Did he want to die?
Because it's high noon.
What was that? I know, but...
It's the right thing. Because it's the right thing to do, and that's all that matters.
It wasn't. He wasn't thinking of his son.
That's the thing. Like, the son needed him. The whole thing with High Noon also is that the townspeople do nothing to support Gary Cooper's character. So he basically, his deputies turn against him, the townsfolk don't lift a finger to help, and then it's just him against the mob. And that's exactly what happens here. His deputy in this episode resigns and is just gone when he gets back to the office.
He's like, this is too much.
Yeah. He's like, I'm out.
Somebody here is going to die and I'm not doing the paperwork. I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they just stuck to that plot line because that was the pre-established plot line, and that's like what has to happen in this High Noon scenario. But I don't think Gary Cooper dies in High Noon, but I have to rewatch it. We watched it in film school, and the only thing about it I enjoyed is that Lloyd Bridges is in it, and he's super young, and that's Jeff Bridges' dad.
Yes, it is. We love Jeff Bridges here. Everyone should love Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
Live, laugh, Lebowski. I'm telling you, I'm going to get it for my living room one of these days. I forgot he was in that. It's probably been since college for me since I've seen that. I was in a film class in college. I think I saw it. I think that was that was a long time. I was like 20 years ago at this
point. I know.
Point.
It's been that long for me too, and it was I kind of remember wishing it was over when I was watching it. And I had the same kind of sensation here because it's pre-existing tension. You know how it's going to break. There's really not much of a way of a surprise coming in a situation like this. It's like either one dies, the other dies, or they kill each other, you know?
Well, we knew Cad lived.
Exactly.
I was not expecting the paternity test to come back. And
you are the father.
Maury Povich is somewhere in the train station like...
Exactly.
Cad Bane just gets up off the stage and just walks out. That's essentially what just happened.
Pretty much. Yep.
I didn't think of that till now. This whole thing is I was really depressed after the ending of this one.
I was too. And the idea that Cad Bane had a girlfriend or loved anybody, and that this somehow is what corrupted him.
Well, I don't even know if he loved her.
This to me felt like a what if, not necessarily canon. It's so bizarre for his...
It's very true.
For his past and his history that I just really struggle to reconcile that little boy wearing a sweater on the street named Colby is Cad Bane in Clone Wars.
Well, we all have roots. We all come from something, and they were little street rats, and they were, without their own parents. I'm assuming for some reason,
just wanting to eat crunchies and sleep in the afternoon.
That was cute. That's a kid's dream. Who doesn't want a belly full of candy and then a sugar coma afterwards?
True.
That's a good life.
It's true.
And he should not have left his friend.
I feel like it's one of those things where as a kid, you don't realize the consequences until it's done. And then you're looking out the window and you're like, oh, I've ruined my own life. And that person's life. And there's nothing, there's nothing you can do about it. That's traumatizing. I hate stories like that. Honestly, while I was watching it, I'm like, if this wasn't Star Wars, I'd turn this off right now because it's too soul crushing.
Right. Well, it's the Underworld, I guess.
Yeah.
How, so crazily does Ventress's story actually feel more positive. It's so wild.
I know. Well, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It was devastating. That poor child is all I could think of.
I know. That's all I could think of was like, this is the physical representation of a lifetime of terrible choices, Cad.
Yeah.
Terrible. And the only person who was trying to do right was the dad, the good cop, and he died. He didn't need to. He could have just stayed in the police station and not confronted Cad. I'm sure Cad would have came after him. He had goons. They were going to come after whoever, whatever. He would have been chased his whole life. Like, I'm trying to rationalize why he decided to go out there and confront him.
Can we just point out that Cad Bane is all up in arms and ready to murder this guy for doing to him what he did to his friend originally.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he's totally misguided.
This is
delusional.
Get a life, man.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's boring. It's a boring mentality. I'm bored. Go do something interesting with your life. Clone Wars was like so cool. He was so cold and honestly, I don't want to know everyone's backstory. I don't want to change how I see Cad Bane now. I'm gonna see him as a little kid wearing a sweater, and the mystery's okay. Sometimes not knowing is okay.
We've said that, yeah. And sometimes leaving them stay dead is okay too.
Yeah, that's okay. Kill your characters with conviction.
Yes! Stand firm in your decision to kill these characters. All right, so let's end this episode on a positive note, since we both collectively didn't like what we were given with this. However, that's fine. Let's name 2 things that we liked from each episode.
From
Let's start
each
with
episode
Ventress.
or like each arc?
Oh, I'm sorry, from each arc, my bad. I liked the gold lightsaber combat.
Yes, very nice.
I liked those little creatures.
Oh, the water
fun
creature people.
Yeah, I felt bad for him, but mainly
cute.
I liked that. How about you?
You're really struggling to get that out there.
Yep.
I think that's all I liked. Yeah, your turn.
Your turn.
I really liked the reference to Quinlan and that he said that he loved her. That
For sure.
It's like an ex-Jedi. That's like a big deal that he's
a big
able
deal.
to say that and mean it and not care that Obi-Wan hears him say it.
Yeah, even Obi-Wan gave him a consoling touch.
Yeah. I also just thought that Ventress looked awesome, and her Mika's performance was so good. I love her voice.
Yeah, it's a very unique character all around, and her voice really does drive it home. Just how unique this character is and how dynamic she is.
Yeah, I thought her performance was really understated and really nice. There was that little spice of Ventress in there, but you could feel the weight of her history, in her voice, her tone of voice.
It was believable. It was very believable.
All right, how about the Cad Bane arc?
I liked the scene setting. They were world developing.
Oh man, you stole mine.
Oh, well, I mean, we can you described it the best. Everything else excluded, it really built like a foundation, I think, that was unspoken. Mm-hmm. And that's what we like about the worlds of Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, those subtleties that really form whatever the, I don't know, environment, if you will, of a character. I also really did like how good the good cop was. I really wanted him to prevail, even though I knew it wasn't going to happen. But honestly, I liked the surprise at the end that the paternity test came back positive for... I really did. I was not expecting that. And I may have even at the end. So it did that for me.
That was a surprise. I was not expecting. Yeah.
Well, how about you?
I like the set, like the art is, the city was really cool and beautiful. And I like the High Noon reference, even though it's not my favorite movie. I think it's cool when they reference classic films and stuff like that. So I can respect it, even though it's still a bit of a boring plot line. At the time, I think High Noon was a big deal, but now it's...
Well, it works with these characters, too. I mean, I can't see too many other characters in Star Wars that would have worked under the guise of High Noon, but it did kind of work for this, despite how depressing.
Opportunity missed, but at least it was pretty, and it felt, it's nice to feel that tie to Clone Wars, that they're still, they still have a finger on the pulse of Clone Wars a little bit.
Till the next round, I guess. All right, we've had enough. We're going back to Clone Wars. In fact, we're going back to one of the greatest Clone Wars arcs that we still have not discussed in detail, and that would be the Geonosian arc. Landing at Point Rain, Weapons Factory, Reign of Terror, what's it called?
Legacy of Terror,
and Brain Invaders.
Yeah.
Is that the order that they're in?
Yeah, I think so. You got
it.
Okay. That was good.
We're going to do them. We're going from the underworld to the top of the world as far as we're concerned with storytelling, animation, performances by all the cast. I mean,
peak sass.
Yes. Oh, and then some. We're going to visit that arc one glorious episode at a time, and there are 4. So buckle up, baby. We're going back to Star Wars, Clone Wars.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast by becoming a patron, head over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. We're revamping our 3 available tiers and offering new and exciting content, and we hope you'll join us. For those of you who are already subscribed, we appreciate every single one of you, and thank you for your support. You can also interact with us on our social media platforms, Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy our podcast, feel free to rate us on Spotify and Apple. And if you need just one place to find all of this, head over to mostthinkskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.